And from an operations standpoint, you've got to be a great manager. At the same time, on the other side of the coin, apart from operations, you also have a significant role, and even a bigger role probably, with the people that you serve in your salons. And I want to take this idea of management, and I want to compare it to leadership. And I want to draw a distinction between the two, because you have to do both really, really well. The idea is that we manage things, schedules, hours, processes. We manage things, and we lead people. There's a very big difference between those two. When we try to manage people, they don't tend to respond well. Take yourself as Exhibit A. When we lead people, it inspires them, it motivates them. It gives them a great experience. And I think you as an organization do wonderful at this. What I want to do today is go a little bit deeper into this idea of the leadership side and how the way that you lead people can impact and augment your ability to manage the things. Because when you try to manage things and there's a poor relationship with people, everything gets harder, much, much harder. So I want to talk about not only that impact is there, more importantly, I want to spend probably most of our time on how do we do this. So as you walk out of today and our time together, I want you to not only have kind of a different perspective to look at this, I also want you to be thinking in terms of, okay, here's what I'm going to do with this. In a high trust relationship, look at the words you wrote down for communication. Typically when we do this with an audience, I'll hear words like fun, energizing, engaging, easy, open, transparent, actual communication. You'll hear all these really great kind of descriptors of what that relationship looks like. And my experience is all of those things, and also this. In a high trust relationship, you can almost say the wrong thing, and people will still get your meaning. See, trust fills in the gap. They know you. They trust you. Now, you contrast that to communication in a low trust relationship, and the words you'll hear for that are typically very, very different. People will say things like guarded, cautious, calculating. They'll say things like fear, difficult, slow, draining, exhausting. My experience is all of those things as well. Also this, in a low trust relationship, you can be very measured and even precise in your communication, and people will still misinterpret you. See, they'll read things into it. They'll project upon you their own agenda. See, communication is far more a matter of trust than it is of technique. Although technique matters, trust matters infinitely more. And one reason that legal communication, for example, tends to be so expensive and so time-consuming is because in most cases, it's fundamentally based upon low trust, and in some cases, no trust. And as a result, it takes a lot of time and costs a lot of money. So look, we just went through one dimension of a relationship, communication, and saw how there's a night and day difference based upon the level of trust. I would argue that it's the same thing in every other dimension, every other aspect of every relationship that you're working in right now. That trust is a learnable skill. A skill. And you heard that right. For most people, this is kind of a paradigm shift. Most people kind of look at trust as something that you kind of have or you kind of don't. I'm arguing that trust is a skill, that in the same way you can destroy trust through your behavior, you can also build it, establish it, grow it, and even restore it on purpose through your behavior. And that what we want to take away from this session today is how do I do that in my world?